Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and this week we're going to go over the brand new thriller that just came out, Mercy. Now, this just came out this last week, so if you haven't seen it yet, just go ahead and skip this one, go to the theaters, watch it, come on back and let me know what you think. But for those of you who have seen it, let's jump into it. So yeah, I went and watched this one opening weekend. Thought the premise of it looked like a pretty good idea, so I figured, hey, I'll go give it a shot, see what it's all about. Right now, overall, it's a really great movie. So again, we're not here to review the movie, but still, if you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor, go ahead and watch it. You won't be disappointed. For those of you who have and are watching this now, again, let's jump into it. So after this, I'm looking at everything as a whole, right? So you have Detective Chris Raven, played by Chris Pratt here. So after this, I'm kind of wondering what happens next for him, because it looks like he's a detective for the LAPD. So after all this has gone on, I'm curious how this changes his mindset moving forward. Obviously, with the Mercy Project, it looks like he had a pretty big hand in creating the Mercy Court, or the project, however they call it in there. So now that he sees that it's flawed, like it runs on cold hard facts and doesn't take into account anything else other than the facts that it's given. So, yeah, like I said, I'm just curious where he goes forward, because now he's acquitted of this murder. Everybody knows he didn't do it. Like, how does his life change now that all this has happened? Like, it seems like everybody in LA knew he was put in the Mercy Court, but now they saw him get out of it. But on the top of that the building he was in almost got blown up, and then his buddy his ex-buddy, or the guy he thought it was his buddy, Rob, almost blew the place up with him in it. So, yeah, there's just a really big question mark over him, is what happens with him. Like, does he want to go and shut down the Mercy Court system? Or now that he's gone through the system, essentially, and kind of got the AI to work with him and be a little more, I don't want to say human, but be a little more adaptive to what's going on as these cases prevail. So yeah, like I said, I was just curious, like, does he leave the Mercy Court alone because she's kind of adapted now, or does he see that it's just hugely flawed and they maybe need to just get rid of it altogether, or do they need to go back to the drawing board and kind of revamp everything that's been going on with it? Because he was kind of able to get her to see that she needs to come in and work with him a little more, that there's a lot more human interaction, or like he said a couple of times, I'm trusting, going after my intuition, trusting my gut feeling, which is something that the AI doesn't understand. So yeah, I'm just really curious how this plays out for him moving forward after all this. Same thing with Judge Maddox. So Judge Maddox, who's essentially the AI part of the Mercy program. I'm curious what they do with her. Do they plug in and see what she's learned from all this, how she's going to adapt? Do they just strictly, who knows, maybe they erase her memory and put her back at normal, and then kind of go back to how she was before. But I think there's a lot to this one that you have to see, like, when you start using these AI programs and they don't take into account certain human elements that come up all the time, and they're just basically set with what facts you put in front of them. You guys use AI all the time, Chat GPT and stuff like that. They basically answer you based off of what you've told them. Now, if there's other factors in play, they don't know that. So now you have to add in, oh, well, I meant this and this. And it's like, so now you're making this AI system having to think more, because they don't have all the facts, but also too, they don't have the human brain element to where they can kind of say, oh yeah, I see this and I can see that, but this is not what these AI things are meant for. So yeah, I'm just really curious what they do with Judge Maddox being a part of this Mercy program. If they completely shut her down, if they revamp her, if they leave her alone, because now she's kind of upgraded herself in a sense to where she's able to take into account, that not, like, just the facts in front of them is not usually everything that's there. Like, there's always more to the story than what's put in front of you. And then there was, like, you got a couple other secondary characters. You have his partner, called Jax. We find out she kind of manipulated a case to make the mercy system go off. Not sure what kind of a big role she has in the LAPD system. Although that flying drone thing she was on looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I wish they kind of had those in real life. That would be pretty cool to fly on. But her, she gets framed, or he realizes that Chris knows that she framed Rob's brother. I don't know. I'm spacing on his brain or spacing on his name right now from the movie. That she framed a man to have to go to mercy court, and essentially that he would be executed by this court as a kind of like what do you say, like an offering to the gods, like to show everybody that this court is not playing around. Like, you go and you do something wrong, you're going into mercy court, and if you can't prove your innocence, you're done. So I'm curious what happens with her. I'm sure she's kicked off the force, and who knows? I don't think she's put in mercy court. The mercy court seems like it's a lot more for people that have murdered and done a lot more high quality crimes. For her, she kind of withheld evidence, but then she did frame an innocent man for murder, so I don't know if that kind of puts her guilty of murder herself. So I'd be curious to see what they do with her. Clearly she's going to be off being a cop, but yeah, moving forward, I wonder what happens with her, especially the fact that she who knows, might hold some vendetta against the fact that she tried so hard to get this mercy court going, and then she did something wrong to try to get it going, but then it just backfired on her at the end, because Chris's friend Rob, who you see in there, we see he was kind of behind the scenes the whole time, just trying to get close to Chris because he wanted revenge for his brother David, which was obviously right. David was his name, that got essentially framed for a murder and then he got put in the mercy court and got executed because he couldn't prove his innocence. Because, again, just the facts in front of him, she saw a knife, they saw him. They saw him being there, and then that was it. He couldn't prove it any other way. Didn't have the tools that Chris here had to prove his innocence. So, moving on that. Like, again, I don't see this one needing a sequel, unless they want to get a little crazier with the Judge Maddox part of it. I think if it's a sequel, it might be like a streaming, like a direct to streaming sequel where you see Judge Maddox. It probably will have a whole new cast, but yeah, I don't see this one needing a sequel. Like I said, didn't have a whole lot of big what next questions for me, other than just you see people like like Chris Raven here, like, just how does this affect his life moving forward, and how does this affect the Mercy Project, being that he fought so hard to get this up and running, and now he sees firsthand that it is not what he wanted it to be. So, but yeah, so if you guys have seen it, let me know what you think. Maybe I missed something. I have only seen it once, so maybe I'll do a revamp of it once it comes out in streaming. I'll give it a second watch, and then maybe do an update on that. But thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.